Bhagavatam, which is meant to be spoken by persons who have no contact with this material world, who have no contact with the material nature. That's the standard of Srimad Bhagavatam, and especially in our line, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has exemplified Bhagavatam by living the Bhagavatam, by exemplifying the Bhagavatam through all his associates. So it's a very, very elevated subject matter, but I will try my best to do justice by all of your causeless mercy. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Aham Uchavachairdravyaye Kriyayot Pannayanaghe Kriyayot Pannayanaghe Naiva Tushyer Chito Richayam Bhuta Grama Vamaninaha Bhuta Grama Vamaninaha. Anyone? 329:24. We'll go ahead, okay. Aham, I. Ucha Avachai, with various. Dravya, paraphernalia. Kriyaya, by religious rituals. Utpannaya, accomplished. Anaghe, O sinless mother. Na, not. Eva, certainly. Tushye, am pleased. Architaha, worshipped. Archayam, in the deity form. Bhuta Grama, to other living entities. Avamaninaha, with those who are disrespectful. My dear mother, even if he worships with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence in all living entities never pleases me by the worship of my deities in the temple. Oh, if you don't want, can you get my phone? Sorry, it's there. It's behind Tulsi. Sorry. Purport, Jayat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are 64 different prescriptions for worship of the deity in the temple. There are many items offered to the deity, some valuable and some less valuable. It is described in Bhagavad Gita. If a devotee offers me a small flower, a leaf, some water, or a little fruit, I will accept it. The real purpose is to exhibit one's loving devotion to the Lord. The offering themselves are secondary. If one has not developed loving devotion to the Lord and simply offers many kinds of foodstuffs, fruits and flowers without real devotion, the offering will not be accepted by the Lord. We cannot bribe the personality of Godhead. He is so great that our bribery has no value, nor has he any scarcity, since he is full in himself. Since he is full in himself, what can we offer him? Everything is produced by him. We simply offer to show our love and gratitude to the Lord. The gratitude and love for God is exhibited by a pure devotee who knows that the Lord lives in every living entity. As such, temple worship necessarily includes distribution of prasad. It is not that one should create a temple in his private apartment or private room, offer something to the Lord, and then eat. Of course, that is better than simply cooking foodstuffs and eating without understanding one's relationship with the Supreme Lord. People who act in this manner are just like animals. But the devotee who wants to elevate himself to the higher level of understanding must know that the Lord is present in every living entity. And as stated in the previous verse, one should be compassionate to other living entities. A devotee should worship the Supreme Lord, be friendly to persons who are on the same level, and be compassionate to the ignorant. One should exhibit his compassion for ignorant living entities by distributing prasad. Distribution of prasad to the ignorant masses of people is essential for persons who make offerings to the personality of Godhead. Real love and devotion is accepted by the Supreme Lord. Many valuable foodstuffs may be presented to a person, but if a person is not hungry, all such offerings are useless for him. Similarly, we may offer many valuable items to the deity, but if we have no real sense of devotion and no real sense of the Lord's presence everywhere, then we are lacking in devotional service. And in such a state of ignorance, we cannot offer anything acceptable to the Lord. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So my humble obeisance to all the devotees. I'm completely unqualified to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's only by all of your mercy I can speak something which is useful. So the first paragraph in the purport, Prabhupada speaks about the importance of worshipping the deity. So deity worship, in deity worship, we have many rules and regulations. And I know sometimes it may be a little irritating, especially because I'm speaking, that I give so many suggestions and alterations and etc. etc. But then thing is, Krishna is a person. So uh, of course, we have certain things that we must do, but at the same time, there are many things that we must do even though we are not told. So we must be very, very conscious and very careful, not only how we deal with deities, but more so with devotees. And something I want to say, it may not sound very palatable, but it's very important that actually devotees are our greatest well-wishers. Whether we may like it or we may not like it, they are our greatest well-wishers because they're chanting the holy name of Krishna and because they're serving the Lord and because they are connected to Srila Prabhupada. So, I mean, speaking for myself, even after many years of devotion, if when a devotee corrects me or gives me a suggestion, if I raise my eyebrow, I don't like it. I mean, it's very easy to judge actually. When you don't like something, people can judge it very easily. It's very easy to judge. I mean, very easy to perceive, I would say, not judge, sorry. Very easy to perceive it. And as a result of that, our chance for improvement remains very, very little because we are not ready to accept improvement from other devotees. And the thing is that everyone has a particular nature. So we are only good in a particular nature, in a particular service. We can't be expert at everything. So things that we are not expert, devotees will help us. Like Krishna says, what Krishna says, Tesham Satyuktanam Bhajtam Pritipurokam Dadami Buddhyogam Tam Yenam Upayantite. So I'm not quoting the right one, but basically Krishna gives us remembrance and forgetfulness. And in another shloka, it's said that how Krishna carries what we lack and preserves what we have, something like that. He gives us, he provides what we don't have, and he preserves what we have. So what does it mean when it says that Krishna gives us something that we don't have? It means everything, intelligence, spiritual intelligence, purity, everything. So the more and more we're open to learning from others, the more and more we can make progress in our spiritual life. So anyhow, so we should be open to feedback. We should try our best to take a humble position when we are getting feedback. And see, the more and more we become used to this mentality of receiving feedback, the more and more we start perceiving this even perceiving things even before others tell us. So it's like it's amazing actually when you develop this kind of mood that you are ready to receive feedback, then eventually, without even others saying, you realize your own faults. Basically, you start looking for faults in yourself. So that is the mood that we want, that constantly try to see where we can improve. This is exemplified in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, that how Lord Chaitanya's devotees exemplify this humble mood of always trying to improve one's devotional service. Like Raghav Pandit, how Raghav Pandit, nobody had to tell Raghav Pandit that the coconuts that you had offered contains dust uh, from the wall. Nobody had to tell him. He himself perceived it. So this is what we want to come to, the level of consciousness we want to come to. We want to perceive a problem, we want to perceive a defect before it actually happens. This is just one example. There's so many examples. Srila Prabhupada himself, when Srila Prabhupada was one time he was seen by a doctor. I quoted this before, that how the doctor said, Prabhupada, you pray too much. You pray too much. And Prabhupada saw that as an opportunity to go on his morning walks. And as a result of going on his morning walks, he was able to contribute to the society in a very intimate way, because in room conversations only special people are allowed, no one else is allowed. So how is it that devotees can have intimate time with Srila Prabhupada? So this is Prabhupada's own genius, that Prabhupada started going on morning walks, and Prabhupada fulfilled the desires of so many devotees. Like in a morning walk, so many devotees can come. There's no problem. And they can hear very intimately what Prabhupada has to say. So in this way, by having this mood of always accepting feedback, then one can himself improve. One can learn by observation. That's the thing, that in devotional service, we can learn so much by observing other devotees. And let's be honest, many devotees, for myself, I'm sorry, I should be honest, that most of the devotees, I see all of you, you are much more exalted than me, much better than me. So I have a lot to learn from all of you. I have a lot to learn from all of you. So just by observing, I can learn so much. So anyway, coming back to this point, that the real purpose is to exhibit one's loving devotion to the Lord. So how does loving devotion come to the Supreme Lord? It comes by the association of devotees. Yesterday in a university program, I was speaking that how spiritual sound, it's very, very powerful, because when we hear from a pure devotee with whom we have a service relationship, we have surrender, then the sound coming from the mouth of that pure devotee, it awakens loving devotion to our Lord. Loving devotion in our heart. Bhaktir utpadyate pumsa shoka moha bhaya. Utpadyate means it awakens, it enlivens the heart with devotional service. So this hearing process is the most powerful process, and that's why when we are hearing, we should be fully attentive. We should be fully attentive. This full attentiveness while hearing will help us to hear what the speaker has to say and what the speaker is also not saying, which means what the speaker is implying by his facial expression, by his tone. It all matters. How he's speaking, in what tone he's speaking, with what urgency he's speaking, that all carry a very strong message. And the more and more we hear with this attentiveness, the more and more devotion grows in our heart. So, in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, Lord Chaitanya used to again and again and again hear from Gadadhar Pandit Srimad Bhagavatam. And Gadadhar Pandit would read Bhagavatam. This is very important. Reading Bhagavatam. So, one may think that what's the use of reading the same verse again and again and again? Yeah, that's because Mahaprabhu is deriving newer and newer meanings. And this will only come when we are very, very attentive in our devotional service. So, another very wonderful aspect which is coming from the first paragraph is how Krishna is full in himself. Krishna is Atmaram. So, Krishna is full in himself, which means essentially that Krishna is independent. Krishna does not need anyone or anything, and neither is Guru dependent on anyone. So we should, service is always descending process, not uh, ascending. It's a descending process, and this is very, very encouraging to us, because the moment we have this mode of receiving Krishna consciousness from a pure devotee, uh, the moment we realize it's like humility. Many people think humility is self-derogation, or is very, how to say, weakens ourselves and does not give us any self-confidence. But actually, humility is the most powerful thing. It's the most we become open to mercy from all different sources. In the mode of receiving. So when we realize that Krishna is independent, Guru is independent, devotees are independent, that they don't have to respond to my prayers, they don't have to listen to me. So then we take a very humble position. We realize that we don't deserve any mercy. And in that way, that humility, when we offer our devotional service, then Krishna becomes very, very pleased. Because the reason why Krishna has put us in this position, this conditioned world and conditioned situation, is because unfortunately we had the desire to become separate from him. So unless we realize how unfortunate that desire is, and unless we pray to Krishna with utmost humility and with utmost uh, like in a crying mood, we will not get reciprocation from the Supreme Lord. So this is one of the most mm, powerful ways to actually make our devotion intense, intensify our devotion. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. To intensify our devotion, the most powerful thing is to realize how insignificant we are and how much we have against us. Our body is failing, our mind is failing. We say things we don't want. We actually have to make it back to the spiritual world. We have to attain love of God. And how is that possible? That is only possible by causeless mercy. What does causeless mercy mean? Causeless mercy means mercy which has no cause, which has no reason. So we are dependent on that. It's almost like, I don't want to say, but it's almost like we are gambling. Of course, we don't gamble as devotees, but we're gambling. We're gambling, thinking that we're hoping against hope, that our little devotion, even though it is filled with so many faults and so many shortcomings, that Krishna will become merciful on us. We are depending on Krishna's mercy. So we have to always remember that in this Krishna conscious movement, that we are depending on mercy. We didn't realize before, but now we are realizing that we are depending on the causeless mercy. And of course, the exemplification of that is in Mukunda. When Mukunda heard that Lord Chaitanya would not see him for many millions of lifetimes, then Mukunda was prepared was happy that, I mean, on one hand, he was very happy that after millions of lifetimes, he would be seeing Lord Chaitanya. And at the same time, in his heart, he was prepared to do whatever it takes to please Lord Chaitanya, to go through whatever trouble it takes. And this is the mood of a devotee. Uh, Diyamanam na vrinanti vina mat sevanam jana. That he says, my Lord, I don't want anything from you. I just want seva. I just want to serve. So you see, the purport is so beautiful that Prabhupada is speaking about how devotion is the real thing, and this devotion also is not something that we can artificially acquire. But what we can do state, uh, in the state when we have not awakened, or until we are not completely purified, is we can offer prayer uh, on behalf, or the same prayer that pure devotees have offered. So the more and more we become convinced in our consciousness that pure devotees are the doer and we are their puppet, the more and more we will see that their devotion. So I always remember this. I try to remember this, that Prabhupada, this famous picture is there, and Prabhupada is doing aarti to the deities, and Prabhupada has, tears in his eyes. Prabhupada has tears in his eyes with so much feeling because of the love Prabhupada has for the Supreme Lord, has for Krishna. So by hearing from Srila Prabhupada, we can also, by his causeless mercy, we can acquire that devotion. Mm. This famous saying is there that tatra lolyam ekam api mulyam. The only qualification is greed. Actually, on our part, the only thing we need is to have greed, is to have desire. That no, how much ever my anarthas may reject me, how much ever my mind may destroy me, how much ever the situation may trouble me, at any cost, I need to awaken pure devotional service. So we should have this greed, this uh, intense desire. So if we have this intense desire, then at any cost, we can cross over all obstacles. Because ultimately, the more and more we serve Krishna, the more and more we try to offer ourselves to Krishna, Krishna realizes how incapable we are. And eventually, it's just like the process is like the bird trying to dry up the ocean with its beak, which is practically impossible. And seeing that, Garuda became attracted. So when we try very hard, whatever we can, with our body, mind, and words, we try to serve Supreme Lord, and we know we're failing, we know we're struggling, but when we try our best, then pure devotees become very attracted because they see, oh, this person is trying so hard, but he's not getting any help. So I have to go and help him. And pure devotees will come to our rescue. So this is our love and gratitude to pure devotees. So Ajay Ranath Maharaj says that this gratitude is our hope to attain pure devotional service. My spiritual master also says that it's the first thing is we become grateful. We become grateful, and then from gratitude, we want to do something for the Lord. And when we do something for the Lord, more and more we do, more and more we take responsibility in our sadhana, in our seva, then Krishna awakens that ignition, ignites that Kladini Shakti, and helps us to awaken that pure love that is there in the heart. Of course, a pure love of God is only experienced at a very high stage, but just like to the extent that you have eradicated your anarthas, to the extent you attain a certain state of nishtha, to the extent you have certain level of taste, certain level of attachment, certain level of feeling, and certain amount of love is there. So this gratitude and love for God is spontaneously exhibited by the pure devotees. And this is very, very important to observe. Pure devotees, when they exhibit their gratitude, it's on a completely different platform. It's on a different platform. And we have to observe that. That's why we hear. Why do we hear from pure devotees? Because we want to observe these things. They're very small, subtle things. And these things go into our consciousness. And later, when we are performing devotional service, we realize that if Guru Maharaj, if this pure devotee exhibited so much love and devotion, then I also have to do, I also must do. So in this way, it drives our enthusiasm. So it's very interesting. Prabhupada is saying that it's not that we should just create a temple and offer something and eat. So here Prabhupada is speaking about cooking for the sake of, offering for the sake of eating. And I'm also a victim of this. Sometimes there is nothing, or if there is, I take something and just offer and eat. But ideally, we should relish Krishna eating. We should relish Krishna eating. Um, we should enjoy Krishna's enjoyment. So that is the purpose of deity worship. In deity worship, we decorate Krishna nicely, feed Krishna nicely, and the whole point of the process is we enjoy Krishna enjoying. Like, oh, Krishna looks so nice. Krishna is wearing such a wonderful garland. Krishna is smiling so nicely. Oh, how happy Krishna must be. Oh, let me do something that can make him more and more happy. So now from Krishna, from the Supreme Lord, we will come to devotees, because the real wealth of Krishna, the real opulence of Krishna is Krishna's dependence on his pure devotees. So the real mercy of Krishna is in the heart of his pure devotees. There is a common, there's in Bhagavatam, it's mentioned that Krishna is not pleased by any offering as much as Krishna is pleased by serving his pure devotee. Serving his pure devotee is the most pleasing thing to Krishna. Is the most pleasing thing to Krishna. And this is exemplified by Krishna and Balaram. When Sandipani Muni asked them to go and get wood from the forest, then Krishna and Balaram went to the forest, and although the Supreme Lord, just by his mere willing, he can get so many, cities and cities of wood, but it is mentioned in that pastime that because of the extreme cold at night, Krishna and Balaram were shivering, and the whole night they were in the cold because they could not come back, they could not get firewood back in time to please Sandipani Muni. So they thought that we'll go back the next day and give him very nice firewood for his sacrifice. So this is the mood of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord himself goes through so much hardship to serve his pure devotee. So this is the greatest opulence of the Supreme Lord, and we have to serve serve the devotees. And the best thing we can do to devotees is to just understand them. Like this example is there that Srila Prabhupada one time went to a temple and told the temple president, he told about a lady that, she has no warm clothes to wear. You should notice and you should buy, and you should not wait for her to ask, because she is humble, she will not ask. So you have to perceive and you have to serve. So just imagine just the fact that Prabhupada said that, how much it would have melted that devotee's heart, and how much that devotee would have been surrendered to Prabhupada for lifetimes and lifetimes, will be surrendered to Prabhupada for lifetimes and lifetimes. So we have to act in such a way that we can melt the heart of others. This is the greatest service we can do to this ISKCON movement, because Prabhupada has spent so much blood, so much effort to actually make this ISKCON movement where it is today. And if we help him to take care of his devotees, then that is the greatest service we can do to him. Give some prasad, speak some sweet words. And many times we think, yeah, what's the use of glorification? Anyway, oh, how does it matter? I'm such a small person, and anyway, that person has so many glorifications. No. When you give a glorification, genuine appreciation which touches your heart, then that devotee has another way to experience Krishna in his life. And as a result of that, his devotion, his intense devotion to Krishna, his love for Krishna, his dedication to Krishna will become intensified. So that is the greatest service you can do, right? If your dedication is today 10% and tomorrow it's 20% and it's 40%, then that is the greatest service you can do to that devotee. So appreciation, empathizing, trying to serve, and ultimately, if you really have a loving relationship with a devotee, how can you know that you have a loving relationship with a devotee? How can you know if a devotee really loves you, really cares for you? I mean, I hate to say this, but that devotee will openly give you correction. That is how you can know. Because, see, um, of course, pure devotees, uh, they chastise. They chastise. In private or in public, they chastise. And of course, it's like yesterday I had an amazing experience actually. It's just like, wow, it's astonishing experience. So I came back. I was watching yesterday night, I came back late and I was watching a video by Gaur Govind Maharaj. So he was chastising one devotee. Wow, the way he chastised him was like astounding. So what he did, first, he told that devotee that why you are engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Of course, I was applying it to myself that why you are only engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And Mana started laughing in ecstasy. He started laughing like so much compassion, so much ecstasy. Everyone in the audience started laughing so hard. So that is the first mercy installment. In the next mercy installment, Maharaj again said, this human form of life is not meant from this purpose. Then in the third after just this all happened in 5 minutes. Then after 30 seconds, Maharaj started speaking a little heavily. Why you're doing? Then Maharaj started literally shouting at him, chastising. But because he made him laugh, because he in so much ecstasy, now Maharaj is instructing, mercy giving glance was falling on him. And what I could see, Maharaj was actually inspiring that devotee to become serious in his Krishna consciousness, because many times we lack enthusiasm, we lack enthusiasm, we lack sincerity, and it's because of our own weakness of heart. But Maharaj was actually enthusing, was inspiring his heart to become strong, to become serious. And of course, Maharaj ended with that. And then Maharaj, at the end, Maharaj gave a very compassionate glance and said that, very gravely that, we should take this human form of life very, very seriously. So how can we know if some devotee really cares, really loves us? Is that devotee without any reservation will openly express what they don't like. That is the greatest mercy, because especially when an exalted devotee, pure devotee expresses like that to us, that will help us to overcome many problems. That's why we have to develop that relationship at least with our authority. At least with our authority, with Shiksha Guru, at least Shiksha Guru should feel openly that this person I can tell anything I want. I mean, of course, if you abuse it, that's a different thing. But when you give open feedback, that saves a lot of problem, a lot of problem. Like many corrections I received early in my spiritual life, although at that time it was very painful, but because somehow by Krishna's grace I accepted it, it is because of that that I am where I am today. And I see many things. I see many things even before it is said. And it helps me to learn. It helped me to avoid mistakes, and it also taught me the art of learning from others. So yeah, this is a real mercy of a devotee when he gives us correction. And there are different levels of correction. One is level of seva, that's okay, but the real correction is on the level of mood. Prabhu, your mood is wrong. Whatever mood you have, when a devotee says like that, whatever mood you have, openly he says, that really hits the heart and changes the heart. Because otherwise, unless we get it, many times we don't want to change. We have so many reservations. Why should I do? Why should I change? Why should I? Why? But then in our heart, and the super soul says that, hey, what are you doing? Why you're so lax? Why you're not taking it seriously? Then it really hits our heart, really hits our heart. Mm. And like, because we feel so much attached to our Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru, when they chastise, we're like, no, we can't let them down. We can't let them feel this way. How can we do that? So then we're like, no, I have to, at any cost, I have to change. I have to do anything and everything it takes to change. So that is devotional service. That is real, what is called anugatya. Anugatya means what? Which means following the parampara. So the real, actually, I think like this, the real purpose of my worshipping the deities and everything is ultimately to get mercy from devotees, to melt the heart of devotees. And externally, it may seem that this guru, this sannyasi is chastising, this even authority is chastising. But what we don't understand is when he's chastising, he's giving a very special kind of mercy to that person, helping him to overcome his difficulties. And he's giving a very special, because actually when someone chastises you, they're giving some of their devotion, their purity to you. If you absorb it, they're giving you, and they're destroying your impurity. When they do that, they're destroying your bad karma if you take the chastisement in a humble mood. I pray to lotus feet of all the devotees that I can imbibe this in my life. I myself have so much ego, but I really want to be open to feedback, and I want to improve myself, because ultimately everything is temporary. Um, at one point, everyone will leave, just like Nansundari Mataji left. Everyone will leave. That's the nature of this body. But what matters is how much I have purified my heart, how much I have set an example for others to follow. So, like, I end with this example of His Grace Prabhu. That one time I saw one proper disciple chastise Prabhuji quite heavily, very openly. I mean, he didn't say it was nothing important, some detail. And after that, Prabhuji led a kirtan, and in that kirtan, Prabhuji was in so much ecstasy. It shows that how humbly he was taking the chastisement. How much gratitude was taking the chastisement. I think not at that level, but I pray to be at that level. His Holiness Ramnath Maharaj says, grateful to be chastised, grateful to be chastised. I'll narrate one incident. My spiritual master himself was chastised by Prabhupada one time. Maharaj actually is cooking something for Prabhupada, and because Prabhupada was sick, Maharaj didn't put enough chili. And then Prabhupada, because of that one mistake, Prabhupada chastised him for 3 days. He said 3 days. Can you imagine? Anytime Prabhupada see him the next 3 days, he would chastise Maharaj so heavily. And he said when Prabhupada would chastise, it would be like a thunder blowing thunder, that much. And then at the end, finally, when Prabhupada asked that, why did you put? Then Maharaj said, yes, Prabhupada, because Tamal Krishna Maharaj, because your stomach is not good. And Prabhupada said, why didn't you tell me all the while? So this is called the mood of a disciple to receive the chastisement. And then one time when Prabhupada told Maharaj that, I am an old man, don't mind, I get angry. Then Maharaj started crying. Normally, speaking for myself, when an exalted devotee apologizes, what we think, yeah. I mean, externally we may say that, please don't say that, but internally, I think that, yeah, finally he apologized. I went through so much suffering, finally. But what is Maharaj's mood? Pure devotee's mood? Pure devotees, their heart breaks. Why? Because there's a real mood of disciple, real mood of receiving. So Maharaj said that he is telling Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, if you don't chastise me, what will happen to me? How will I learn? So it takes a lot of purity and a lot of very genuine devotion, purity, to take chastisement like that from the spiritual master in a humble mood without saying one word. So yeah, that's even Prabhupada himself says that one time how Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur chastised him and how he took a very humble position. So anyway, I'm sorry if I spoke beyond my adhikar, but just speaking for my own purification. Anyone has any question or comment?
I remember one incident that our new Vrindavan event, Chandravali Swami Maharaj said that Radhanath Swami Maharaj was glorifying him, and what was the glorification he captured, and that he accepted as glorification. So he was accepting that chastisement in that moment. That okay, because uh, his mood was that it is going to help him.
Wonderful. Yes, anyone has any anything else to say?
One question to you.
Yeah, online, any question? One second. Online, any question or comment? I'm sorry, I spoke very heavily today.
Today,
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Prabhuji, the class was very nice. I just like the few points. That is the first importance of listening, with what mood we should listen to the speaker is really important. What you mentioned, that how we should look at the speaker, with what urge he's speaking out. And secondly, the same when you are telling about your how you watch the videos or listen to the videos, looking at the mood of the Gaur Govind Maharaj, that was really promising example, Prabhuji. And at last, you were mentioning a few of the chastisements of the Prabhupada and the Guru Maharaj. Everything was really, really very much promising. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for pointing so many important points. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Rohinandan Prabhu.
so I have a question to you. Like many devotees are there, and when we serve, many devotees will be there, and they will have, everyone has their own mood, and everybody has their own way. So somebody will say us to do in some way, other will come and say no, it is wrong doing that way. Then other will come and say no, it is wrong doing that way. So in that way, what we should do and how we should teach it, and can we ask them like, can you just explain, educate me why we should do like this? Can we ask them, or is it just we silently accept it? And
No, bro, like Rohinandan Prabhu's question is how different devotees give different instructions on different things. So in regards to seva, yes, different people have different ways of doing seva. So the rule is that in seva you accept one person's, and if other person give the instruction, they know very well that this person is authority, then you just accept that person whatever he says, and you don't have to say anything, but you do what your authority says when it comes to seva. And it's always good to ask for clarification, no problem. uh, mm, then the next thing is about shiksha. So shiksha means devotional direction or inspiration that we should take from only one person. That's very important. Others may also say other things, but we should take from one person. We should be dedicated to one person. Yeah, that's very important. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll get confused. But yeah, I mean, definitely we can try to inspire, we can speak to devotees about things. That's no problem. Yeah, but when it comes to seva, I mean, when it comes to especially spiritual inspiration, it should be one person. And that's why we should also be sensitive. We know this person is taking guidance from another person, then unless that devotee exclusively asks, and unless we know the mood of their guide, we should be very careful not to guide actually. It's not easy, but yeah, we have to do.
yeah, I remember Brother Prabhu's comment. He said some devotee came and asked him, "Who Prabhu, you are very exalted, and I am going to suffering. What should I do?" He said, "Good that you have lust. Oh, good that you have lust." He just said, and then he went to his higher authority and said, "How can he tell that I have lust?" Then he told that otherwise, that you will be humble in that way and you will improve. Otherwise, you might think, "Oh, I don't have anything." So something like that. So, yeah, but we said that it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, Rajari Prabhu, when this Rajari Prabhu said something very nice. He said, my first marriage was Gauranga Prabhu. So, which means that much he was surrendered to Gauranga Prabhu. So instead of asking here, asking there, we should marry our heart to one Shiksha Guru, one person. That way, that surrender will manifest there. Then whatever they say, we'll be able to apply. Otherwise, if you have many people, then your heart is nowhere actually. Okay, anyone has any other question or comment? I'm sorry if I, and please forgive me also if I chastise anyone, or I mean, who am I? But if I said anything wrong to anyone, please forgive me. Trying to be more careful nowadays.
Prabhuji, with Danvat Pranav,
Yeah.
I just want to share on the topic that you brought up today when I was reading Bhagavad Gita, and especially the purports.
Oh,
The Prabhupada, I literally felt that he chastised, like that's the word.
yeah,
I literally felt in his purport, especially when he used the word like rascals. I felt that it was pointing at me,
yeah.
like he's saying that we are not doing anything. So it's just like um, that thought came to my mind when you shared this.
Mm.
So his purports are very strong. If someone reads Bhagavad Gita, it literally gets to you, and it's very important. If whatever little progress that I've made is because of his chastisement or what he did in the purports.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Right. Okay.
Question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, Krishna. I have a question, Prabhuji, regarding this chastisement. Let's see, when a younger devotee, pure devotee like you, chastise an elder person like me. So first thing it comes in my mind, because I'm not in any position, not in devotee, not in materialistic, not nowhere. But first thing is, who is this person so younger than me, chastising me? He doesn't know how to respect elder people. This is like a materialistic perspective. But when it comes to spiritual, how we need to take.
Yeah, bro. Actually, that's a very good lesson to me. That I'm realizing that, I mean, in this congregation, I'm just like, this insignificant insect. Who am I to say anything? So nowadays, I pray I'm very, very careful to say anything actually. Yeah, so that's a very good lesson to me actually. And yeah, how to take it? Well, yeah, that's why you can't take it unless I mean, I'll speak myself. I cannot take chastisement unless and first thing is I have to be deep in my sadhana. I have to be serious about my sadhana. And and yeah, actually, I'll say something really, really inspiring in this regard. Sripad Aindapu, I don't know how many of you know. So at one point in time, he was doing book distribution, and he was not that good at book distribution. He would sell a few books. So at the end of the book distribution, he actually, he said, he reported that Prabhu, I only did so many books. And that person is whoever, he was very angry. He said, how can you say, one marathon you did like this? I don't think anything bad about that person, but just see the example. So he actually slapped Ainul. He slapped him, literally. Uh, and then after that, devotees went to Ainul Prabhu, said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. He said, no, Prabhu, Krishna is just telling me how to improve. So it's because when you're very deep in your sadhana, when you're very serious about your sadhana, then you kind of, whenever I am chastised, many times when I'm chastised, I can kind of perceive that it's because I was careless in my sadhana, because I did some offense on altar, I did something wrong. That's why it came. Somehow I'm always able to relate like that. So you'll be able to relate. And second thing is when someone says you'll be able to, when you see someone's genuine, that helps you to take it actually. Like someone is genuinely saying, and mm, like if you, I mean, I hope I can practice this, but if you can practice this one thing, at least I'm nobody, and I hope not to unnecessarily say anything. I'm try to be, I mean, the time I have learned to be careful in how I say things, but at least with your Shiksha Guru, try to take it without saying anything in return. Generally, what we do when we are chastised, immediately we respond. But let's try to, I should try to practice this, that when I'm chastised, don't speak anything. Because when you speak immediately, now, at least for myself, that's the voice of the ego. Doesn't matter what it is, but the ego is speaking. The whole point of coming to authority is to subdue the ego, right? So, yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
And again, I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry that, if I chastise or say anything bad to anyone. Yeah, I am nobody to say.
Prabhuji, chastisement purifies everybody.
But
Depends
see,
how.
but the point is that His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj said one thing in this regard, that he says everyone in the world, generally I encourage them, I speak them, but people are close to me, I see them like myself, and therefore I can tolerate when they do something. So ultimately, if we want to come closer to a person, a pure devotee, exalted soul, we have to be ready to, it may not even be, it's not that the person has to shout or something, but just open to correction. So, and one more thing I'll end in this regard, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave this purport to Vrindavan Das Thakur. Vrindavan Das Thakur, he said that anyone who does not accept Lord Nityananda as a supreme Lord, I will kick him on his head, kick him on his face. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, this is very surprising. Devotee is very humble. He said, yeah, the reason why he's saying is that when a pure devotee chastises someone, then Krishna immediately become very merciful. Oh, my pure devotee chastised you. Come. I will give you mercy. So he said that was Vrindavan Das Thakur's mood. That like Lord Chaitanya rejected, Lord Nityananda accepted, like that example. So yeah, so when a pure devotee chastises, Krishna's mercy really works. And at least for me, for a fallen soul like me, my head is so thick, my heart is so hard. If I did not get all the chastisement that I got in my spiritual life, now I would have just be happily sitting at home, not even chanting few rounds. Everything is okay. I am okay. You're okay. Everything is okay. Let everything fall from the sky. I would have been like that actually. Only because of the correction and chastisement that I received, I improved. Otherwise, I was such a lazy person. I still am. But yeah, the mercy of devotees, I'm where I am today.
Yeah, well, one thing I remember, between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaitacharya, Mahaprabhu always gives extreme respect to Advaitacharya, right? But Advaitacharya wanted chastise from Mahaprabhu. He is like threefold younger than Advaitacharya. But one time he was preaching Mayavad philosophy purposefully, then Mahaprabhu chastised him like anything. So that, but we are not. I'm not in that stage, because especially like a small kids in our temple or anybody, he said, "Prabhuji, you are doing wrong." What? You are telling me? So, thank you, Prabhuji. Nice class, nice clarification.
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.